Ulonkata bati yada tó yẹ kó máa da ifá. Inú tó yẹ kó jẹun ló fi bí pa. Ọba tálá, ọba takuntakun. Ṣàngó, Èṣù, Ògún, Ọya, Ọ̀ṣun. Ìwọ ló ń bọ̀ nílé. Kí ni ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ tán ṣe nílé yìí o? Ó jẹ́ lọ jára rẹ̀.
Lafayette, peace and blessings. Welcome to another episode of the African Spiritual Experience. I am your host, Orisha Bemi, and Tribe. We are back with another live stream episode featuring I am SCG Madi. What's good with you? Peace and blessings. How you doing?
Hola, I am doing fantastic and amazing.
That's what's up.
And look, I learned a new one.
What's that?
Awful. I'm awful.
Awful?
Yes. Awful. Like that word is really, you're full of awe. You're awful.
Got you.
Yeah, but you know how they be doing. You know how the entertainment industry they be doing.
Yeah. That's definitely a hot topic, man. Topic of discussion for sure. Something I wanted to get into. I actually didn't want to, but I feel like it's inevitable, considering what all is going on, and it's something that we've spoke about, this industry. We've spoke about, the demons, the politics, all the things that go along with, certain levels of fame or, fortune, so-called fortune, or whatever you want to call it. But it's in particularly when you talk about this thing called entertainment or entertainment, whichever way you want to call it. And when we talk about like music, that's an industry that you've actually had experience with. That's an industry that you've actually had, a professional career in. And I feel like you have been exposed to and have seen a lot of things that a lot of people only hear about, or a lot of people might read about, or, what I'm saying? Like there's so many different dynamics that goes into how people are exposed to whatever's taking place inside of the entertainment or entertainment industry, whichever way you want to call it or see it. But one of the things that I feel like is undeniable is the fact that we've been hearing about these files for 10 plus years or so more, I think. And they finally was able to get released. And I think for you, I'm pretty sure you're not surprised by any of the names that's been on that list. But when it comes to what we're dealing with as a whole, you're talking about a cultural, global, you know what I'm saying? Like this is a major operation that, is unfolding. And it's something that you've been experienced or exposed to in your life. So like when it comes to what we're seeing now, what's being released and what we're dissecting, how does that kind of correlate to your experience with this industry? And then also, why is it so important for us to focus on the healing aspect of what's taking place or what we see culturally, especially in the world of media or entertainment?
Okay, I'm going to go with that last one first. I'm going to start there. And the reason why they're releasing the information now is just for emotional control. They want to have people really frustrated at the things that are going on because they are showing things on TikTok, on Instagram, on all the platforms without any kind of censorship. Like I can't get on TikTok and say anything. I can't even say Oregon energy batteries without getting in trouble. You know what I'm saying? So it's like all of this that's coming out is coming out on purpose because we're in a very powerful time right now. So today is the last day of the year of the snake. We're going in tomorrow to the fire horse. And so what is really important right now is your emotional system for it to be balanced, for it to be high, if anything. You know what I'm saying? But it's like when your mind immediately goes to those images that they're releasing, you have to really think about it. Why now? Why are they doing this now? You know what I'm saying? And why are they so open with it? And why ain't nobody getting in trouble? Who's getting in trouble? It's just another show. You know what I'm saying? This has been going on for years. You say 10. I saw Agenda 2020 like it had to be 15 years ago, when I saw it for sure. So yeah, it's all a play, and what role do you play? What role are you playing? Where are you giving your attention to?
Yeah, I feel like it's all a distraction. There's always so many different dynamics when you have this one centralized story, this one centralized thing, because you got to think about it. And this is another reason why I'm glad that I was able to get you for this conversation, is because we think about the whole situation with the Super Bowl. I feel like that right there within itself. Every year, the Super Bowl is some sort of ritual, right? Some sort of something. So this year, there's an artist or several artists, but one in particular who has ties to the NFL that had, I feel like a whole lot to either gain or a whole lot to, some people might say, or feel lose, or, depending on what your perspective that you're looking at. But I say all that to say there was the Bad Bunny, halftime show thing. And he, from what I hear, he put on for, I guess, for the Spanish people, for those of the black and brown, culture, as far as what I've heard. And I didn't really know anything about him prior to the performance, but I was interested to see what it was about. And I did see the visual effects of where he was going with, I feel like, the message, right? But with you being someone who has ties to the island of Puerto Rico, correct?
That's where I was born.
Okay, so you can really speak to this to I feel like a really circular level when we talk about spiritually, but we talk about the entertainment industry, and when we talk about where we are now collectively. So, if you could share with me, like, how did you feel about that whole performance? Like, what did you get from it, from your Puerto Rico cultural upbringing aspect, but also from the cultural aspect that you grew up with here, in California and everywhere else that you took your journey on the road to?
Okay. First, I want to say saludos a mi gente. Hi, greetings to my people. Um, what I thought, I do not have a popular opinion. I've had to detach from that whole concept of pride over anything here on this realm a long time ago. So, from the perspective from where I was watching it, it looked like a trap. I've been watching, I started hearing about Bad Bunny, like, I'm going to say about 2 years ago, really, myself, right? And I started seeing how they had him on Saturday Night Live. Okay, they had him on Saturday Night Live quite a few times. Saturday Night Live is like an initiation for those that have the power to program, right? And so, just how they take somebody like, I don't know, Glorilla, for example. They're taking that energy and now they're making that energy the example for that group of people. And so now Bad Bunny is now supposed to be like the example and the mascot for the island. And I recognize all of the politics involved, and so I didn't watch it. I've been disconnected from that world for a minute. But I did see all of the snippets and I did end up watching his whole his whole section of the halftime, and it was just crazy to me because very symbolic. The world is run through symbolism, but very symbolic. Ricky Martin was singing a song telling people, don't let what happened to Hawaii happen to Puerto Rico. Hello, it's already happening. It's already been happening, right? Like, American people can go to Puerto Rico and not pay taxes. It has been a tax haven for the longest time. And they've been doing so many things like privatizing certain areas of the island and not letting the islanders in, right? The beaches, all of that. And so when they put it, by the time it's at the Super Bowl, ladies and gentlemen, it's an announcement. It's an announcement of them taking over because we already know what media is used for. We already know how they get down. So they have to let you know what's going on before they do it. But if a person is paralyzed and completely, distracted by everything that's going on, you know what I'm saying? It's not. They're not gonna. You're not fighting nothing because it's not even about a fight. That's what they want. They want people to fight about this. This is about people recognizing who they are and remembering who they are. One more thing about Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico has the Federal Reserve is in Puerto Rico. You know what I'm saying? It's like they've been bombing. There were Rosie Perez. She used to fight for the rights of Puerto Rico and them not bombing over there in Vieques. Like, there was a lot of political stuff always going on there. I'm not a political person, but from my perspective and what I see, I definitely see the politics. It's a setup. And the lyrics of Bad Bunny on the halftime. Okay, Super Bowl is supposed to be a family thing, right? So now he's talking about sucking on penises and doing it to girls, and he's talking about all of the women that he has, but he won't marry none. Like, It's Hollywood, it's the entertainment industry, and it's a trap. That's my view on that. It's a complete trap.
That's deep because I ain't know nothing about what he was saying, and that's the one thing that I was like, yeah, I'm trying to, watch the visuals, and I'm trying to see like what I'm taking from it because I did see, like I said, the symbolism was strong, but like I said, we also know that it's always some sort of ritualistic thing when it comes to major events that's always taking place, especially when you're talking about hundreds of millions of people who are going to be watching. There's always some sort, I feel like, of opportunity for those who have an interest or vested interest in
Yeah,
harvesting energy or harvesting a lot of other things. Like that's always an opportunity I feel like for them to do, some type of magical work, allegedly.
absolutely.
So yeah,
100%. Lady Gaga crowning him right there with her little hand symbols on
mhm,
his crown. People got to wake up to what's really going on. I
mhm,
know that people get mad all the time at what I have to say in regards to these things, and that's why I don't say much,
right,
because you have to have a certain perspective in order to really make sense of it and know what it is. But we're in 2026. You already see what's going on. You
right,
got children, like everybody who's not twerking. And
right,
it's not even a matter of twerking is bad. Ain't nothing bad. It is about balance. But it's when you're feeding a certain energy into millions of people without any kind of direction, then you are targeting that sacral chakra. You're making it go crazy. You're stimulating the hell out of it. And you're saying, now go on and don't talk about it because it's taboo, right? And
yeah,
but go on and just, this energy creates your vibrational frequency is what's creating your life. And this is what's happening in the world right now, and people are seeing it. So yeah,
yeah,
the Super Bowl, if for those that are, you know what, real talk, I'm gonna say, just from my vibe, is that I really don't think that the people that are on this podcast right now was even watching the Super Bowl. Not saying that there was anything wrong with you if you were,
right,
but you know what, bump that. No, there is. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it is time now. Where are you putting your energy? Who are you giving it to? Because this
right,
is what they want. And this is why I know you weren't going to talk about this, because I
yeah,
wasn't going to talk about this either. But
mhm,
it does take for people that are not connected in that world, that have a different perspective, to be able to paint another picture so that other people could have a view. I
yeah,
worked in that industry for over 35 years of my life, and it wasn't in just radio. I worked in the recording industry, music, radio, film, and television over
mm,
35 years of my life. So trust me, I have seen a lot. And it don't even matter the things that I've seen. Just know that there's it's a lot of stuff going on there for your entertainment, because when you're paying attention to something outside of yourself, they know how to do stuff with that energy.
mm,
Those rituals that you've been seeing, when you're
yeah,
seeing all the little Epstein and Trump and all, that's really interesting too. You know what I'm saying? Hold on.
yep,
Ache to my ancestors,
I see,
to the most divine feminine mother. Ache for this time. This is our time. The divine matriarch. We are here. We are ready. We are in position. We've been in position, right? Now it's time for everybody to come on and get with it. And I'm not gonna pussyfoot around none of this. I've been away from that industry for a very, very long time, and I have kept my mouth shut about mostly everything. And it's not about spilling nothing. I ain't spilling nothing. I'm letting y'all know that it is this time to take advantage of where we are in the world right now, and focus on yourself, because it is the only way to win. One more important thing that I want to say is that through the entertainment industry, the soup, all of these things, they're using now spirituality. And this is why we're having this conversation tonight, too, because really they're stepping into this arena now. So we got to address it. So now all of your favorite celebrities, and maybe not all of them, but some of them, they coming out with all of this spiritual talk. Ooh, they're coming out with all of this knowledge, and they're, like, where was this before, right? And who is it that's saying it? And here's the thing, this is why it's so important to get to yourself, because if you don't have the discernment, you're going to be running the program of, oh, but I loved him on that movie, oh, he was so good in that movie. And even though your
mhm,
mind is like, for a minute you'll be like, oh no, your subconscious mind that has all of those images of that actor, that actress ingrained in you, that you trust them, because that's what happens. We love these celebrities more than we love our own families. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? So we trust them because they're saying it. Then now, you know what I'm saying? We are in war right now, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen.
Oh
This is
yeah.
why the entertainment industry is such an important topic to talk about at this time, because that is what they have created for all of the programming to happen.
Yeah. Well, and you see what happens when people who speak out against it, like, you know what I'm saying, what happens with them. Because if you look
Yeah.
at, I just look at the subliminals, right? And if you pay attention to the culture, and that's something that I feel like everybody here that, that's a listener to the tribe, I feel like everybody is tapped in heavily, to the culture. So it's like, if you look at the culture, right? I was just watching something earlier. I was thinking about how, and mind you, I haven't watched the Grammys. I don't really watch TV, right? So a lot of the ways I find out about stuff is from people either telling me or for me just actually doing research, just to kind of look up different things, in regards to doing the work. But when I think about it, I don't know if you saw it, but Lauryn Hill performed at the Grammys this year for the first time, I think, since 1999, right? So the fact that she hadn't been anywhere and then she performed at the Grammys for the first time since 1999. And if you think about it, she's always been woke. She's always been conscious. She's always been, an educator, i.e., the album that went diamond, the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, right?
Mhm.
After that album, if you think about it and you do the math, there was another female who stepped on the scene, and that female, I think, has won probably like 25, 26 lifetime Grammys by the name of Queen B, right? But
Mhm.
she wasn't there, and neither was her partner in crime wasn't there, but Lauryn Hill was there. I thought
Mhm.
there was something that really kind of stood out to me about, the timing of, them not being there and then her being there, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And then I saw some other stuff that really disappointed me. And I don't know how many people seen um the walk up with CeeLo from the Goody Mob, but I saw it. And did you see that?
I saw when he had them red eyes on. But see what I know about, and y'all could look this up, but there was at a time, and this is what happens: situations happen, and they pull it out. CeeLo had gotten in trouble for putting mollies or putting some substances in people's drinks. He was, I mean, there. If you search deep, you will find the information that you're wanting to find if you need it. But know
Yeah.
that all of the people that were in the industry, that aren't in the industry, you have the ones that are trying to make their way on social media, and they're trying to, and then you have those ones that are on the Epstein list that they just been part of the game the whole time. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
The most loving ones, right? And
Hmm.
so people are having it's a lot that happens through that, because I know that I'm
Hmm.
being like, because I've known it for so long, it's not
Hmm.
nothing to me. But I know
Right.
that for a lot of people that are getting this information, they're in such shock. They are
Oh yeah.
heartbroken. They are
Yeah.
feeling completely misled and betrayed, and anything that it takes to get you to be in that root, that emotional deep, like the adrenochrome, how they get people to get
Hmm.
children to get scared. There is a
Yeah.
lot in passionate, scared energy. And
Yeah.
especially when it's low and it's scary, when you're scared, you're frozen, you don't know what to do. But the people, the powers that were, they know how to harness that energy and do what they need to do with it. So trust and believe, like even the things that you were mentioning, the Grammys, all of that. It's all on the internet now. You can't look at anything online without those things just popping up, because
Yeah.
they've taken over the platform of what the internet is, so that they can continue to do their work. But the internet, of course, is to level the playing field. But if you got a whole bunch of dumbos that are just completely zonked out and are not doing anything but scrolling their lives away, then you're winning, you
Yeah.
know? And so,
Yeah.
and when I say that, I'm saying that lightly, ladies and gentlemen, without any judgment, because like I said, it's a war. So the technology that they're using against people on these social media streams, so that you could stay on there looking, everything that you think about will come on your feed. Anything
Yeah.
that is your subconscious mind, they're showing you the power of how you are. But if they can, without showing you, right? If you're paying attention, you check it out. But if you're not paying attention, you're just thinking, oh, look, and how do they know? And you fall deeper into what it is. It's
Yeah.
time to stand in your power and know who you are, because it's not about escaping it. We here, baby. You can't
Right.
escape it. What you got to do is transform and transmute that energy and create the world that you want to exist in, because this is the time to do it.
Facts. Yeah. Yeah, it's a real thing, man. It's a lot of energy being siphoned in regards to, like, what's being consumed too. And that's why, I recommend those Blu-ray glasses. I don't have mine. I got one of mine in here today, but like just to block all that stuff to be coming through,
Yeah.
like even through the phone, through the phone, through the laptop, any type of electronic device, there's the ability to tap in and harness energy. You know what I mean? Just like organs that are being harnessed. And okay, and then we got some protections for that. So can you share with us what you hold with them? Are those the wands?
I'm holding wands for protection. Any energy that's coming my way through the screen is getting transformed and is getting sent right back to the sender. So I'm divinely protected, but I'm also protected by all of this electromagnetic frequencies that are coming, messing with people, making people have a lot of different symptoms, because everybody's not the same. Some people are getting headaches. Some people are falling into depression. Some people are having muscle pain. Some people are having just mental disorders. And it's coming from so many different places and sources. And because it's unseen, people are not looking at this war, right? Like,
Yeah.
you can't really see anything with your naked eyes. So it makes it easy to forget about it until you're living in that experience, you know?
Right.
So you have
Yeah.
to protect yourself. Absolutely,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, because it's a lot of warring going on. Whether we're talking about the food, with the air, with the water, with everything, it's a lot. And then you think about the energy that's being harnessed and the energy that's being siphoned. You know what I mean? Just by people that are tapped into, this beast as it kind of eats itself from the inside out. And it's a real thing. I think for some people, I don't know how many people like really tapped into how far we are along in the existence of humanity. Like this is a very, 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 very prominent time of the planet Earth and for
Mhm.
all times. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
for real. And it's like when you look at what we're facing, you're looking at one superpower that's fallen. It's already fallen, right? And then you look at all the other ones like hyenas just waiting, to kind of feed off of the carcass, because that's what they've been doing for the last, what, 400, 500, 600 years or what have you. So it's like, that karmic cyclical cycle has definitely looped around and did a 180 to where I see, what I'm saying, there's a lot of different things that's happening from the inside out.
Absolutely.
You spoke of something that I feel like a lot of people are dealing with, especially when you look at the economy, right? That was one of the things I wanted to tap into too, about where we are with the whole thing with the 300,000 plus, melanated sisters who are out of the workforce, with so many different companies who are laying people off left and right. I'm talking about closing down. You talk about the major distributors who are, like cutting thousands and thousands upon thousands of jobs. But yet the prices of food, the prices of utilities, the prices of cars, the prices of houses, the prices of apartments, you name it, is going steadily hot, sky high. When it comes to fighting off these experiences that we're dealing with life, but not just that, but the rays, the blue rays, the rays that are coming through us, from the technology, from the audio, from these devices, from the visuals of these devices, just being out in the public, where there's a ton of different types of I feel like attacks that are thrown at us, whether it's through sound, through the air, food, whatever. Where do you recommend someone who creates crystals and orgone energy battery crystals? Where do you recommend us going to combat those attacks of depression or those attacks of self-limiting beliefs? So, what I'm saying, all the things that you spoke about that people are dealing with through these tough and harsh times. Like, where would you say would be the best place for somebody to go to tap into that energy?
You know what? You have to go inside yourself,
Mm,
right? And I'm gonna break it down a little bit more, because I used to always talk about go to nature, go outside, get in the water, all of those things. We've talked about those things.
mhm.
But we're now in that time where all of these people losing their jobs, all of this transformation happening, is so that people can get, they're getting shaken so that you can recognize and realize who you are. You got to connect to the source. What is the source? Whatever it is that you call it, that is the source that you got to connect to. That is the only salvation. And so when you're having a moment of destitute, depression. This is something that I work with constantly. This is something that happened to me just recently, and I'll tell you what it was. I was having like an anxiety attack. And when I have anxiety attacks, like people could call it whatever. Like some people, depending on your perspective, you can say that I was being um, uh, metaphysically attacked, by demons, right? I was being, my situation, whatever, it's in the mind, and the mind is where all of this stuff is happening. And so when you're having an episode of anxiety, your mind is going into a place that's very low, a low vibrating place. And when you're in that low vibrating place, you're a power source, you are a generator. And so now your energy is reflecting this low vibration. And so in this low vibration, what is happening is there's entities and energies and whatever it is that you want to call it that are ready to pounce on you, right? And so it's a fight, right? And so you have to decide, it's going to be you, or it's going to be this demonic entity, this low energy, this force that is keeping you down. And this force comes in by way of thoughts of taking yourself out. It comes by way of going into that low, dark space, and like you can't get out. You feel like there's nothing, and emotionally it just captures you. And so in those moments, the only thing that you have is you right there in that moment. And so you have to make a decision. How are you going to move yourself up from this, right? Because you're an adult now, right? So we recognize that emotions, there's nothing bad or wrong with emotions, but they're there to show us something. So when we're in that deep state of depression, there's something that's saying, I'm in a low space. So the only thing that matters is getting outside of you can go into the specifics of why you're in that space. That's part of transforming, that's part of the transformation. The next step after that is transmuting that energy. So now you're taking that energy and you go, why are these tears continuing to come? Why am I crying? Why can't I stop crying? Whatever the question is, you have to ask yourself that question until that brain starts doing the work and finds the answer. Oh, I'm crying because I felt this or I felt that. You're going to find your reason. And that is the transformation. And now it's time to transmute that energy. But before we get to the point of transmutation, because it takes a minute to get there. And for someone like me, there were times where I would be in that space and it would be so strong that the only thing that would lift me is going to be something physical. And I recognize that. So we have a meridian system. This meridian system is about 6 inches above your flesh, right? And this system guides everything inside you. This system is hit first, and then it goes into your chakra system, and then it is decided. Okay. And so when you're having an anxiety attack, the first thing that you want to do is disrupt that system. So you could either jump, you could slap yourself if you need to slap yourself. You can also tap on your meridians, tap on your meridians, and that's going to disrupt the signal that's telling your mind to be in that low vibrating space. But you have to be aware of yourself enough to know what is happening, right? So I know when I'm having an anxiety attack, like everybody is going through major changes in the world. Like it doesn't even matter the specifics of anybody's story. The whole point is that when you get into that low vibration, it is up to you to bring yourself out of it. And these are the way of our ancestors. This is the way that these situations were dealt with way back in the day before there were, all of the energies
Yeah.
that are now. But you got to, and once you do the tapping, your breath, you're taking your breath, and you're going immediately into gratitude for that breath, because that breath signifies the life that you have to be here. In my position, what I do, I am not afraid of pain. you
Mm,
know Pain has been a constant in my life. I am an alchemist, and so I'm
mm,
grateful for the pain, because all of the pain that I've transformed, has changed my life for the better. And so I know that if something is happening, I'm ready for it because it's happening. So it's up to me to be like, all right, come on with it. And sometimes it's just me and the devil. Who's going to win? Not the devil, because the devil, hello, is part of me. So I know how to check that motherfucker. You know what I mean? And it's all about balance. You can't be afraid of that dark side, and you can't be thinking that you're just all the way in heaven, all the way in the light side. You know, either one is bad if you're going all the way up or if you're going all the way down. You got to go into that balanced state and be able to show source that you're able to use that power and maneuver that power. You know, it's like you don't, a lot of people think, I don't mean to ramble, but this is
No, you're
important.
good.
My acronym: Sacral Energy Goddess 13, Sacred Goddess 13, Sex Goddess 13. That is part of who I am. Because I know better, because I am aware. Does that mean that I don't know that my motherfucking ass is sexy? You know what I'm saying? Does that mean that I don't like to do certain things? Hell no. It means that I recognize these things about myself and now I can manage them. Because as I say that, it's funny as I say that, because when I say that, I recognize the power of what that is. And so I am grateful and thankful for all of the pain that came through that realization of this sexual sacred energy goddess that I am, right? And so I can't, because now I know something different, I can't just tuck that away, but there is a time and a place, right? So now it's about the balance of it. It's not about saying, oh no, that's not, I can, no, that's, I'm above all of this and above all of that. No, not really, because everybody could do the most ratchet things when it's time to do the most ratchet things.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of ratchet things going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
In the world right now, man. There's a whole lot of ratchet things going on. It's something, to think about, because if you look at like the way the entire globe is shifting, there's so many things that are going on in regards to the planet itself, right? That I feel like are not being spoken about or talked about because we're being so inundated by all the different things that's going on in the so-called mainstream, headlines. But I think about how when we think about the whole practice of Ma'at, right? The principles of Ma'at, there's 42 laws of Ma'at. And we talk about where we're at right now. We look, to me, the way I see it, it's almost like the planet and the universe are kind of like balancing out the spiritual laws of the universe. You know what I'm saying? Like they're bringing forth the manifestation of the laws of Ma'at. We're seeing the manifestation of the development of balance and good character with Iwa Pele, because I wanted to call the show Money, Power, Respect. Money, Power, Respect Mondays, because if you think about it, right, all the people who did so many different things to get to a so-called position of money, power, and respect, right? When it comes to the cameras rolling and the whole, what I'm saying, the entertainment industry, or entertainment industry, whatever you want to call it, a lot of those same people now are nowhere to be found. A lot of those same people now are tied to some of the most heinous, barbaric, disgusting acts, committed on this planet. There's been a lot of them, but I'm talking
100%.
about some of the worst of the worst. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like I can talk about what I feel like, or what I should say, the type of outcome for those types of people who commit those crimes. But one of my favorite movies of all time, and because I can relate in a lot of different ways to this movie, especially the main character, was the movie Law Abiding Citizen. And there's a part in that movie when these two crumb bums murdered his wife and his daughter, and he got the chance to meet up with them again. And he recalled one of the last things before they took both of their lives is that one of the killers said, "You can't fight fate." And then I remember the fact that when he caught up to him, he let him know the same thing. You can't fight fate.
Exactly.
You can't. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to the laws of Ma'at, when it comes to like reciprocity, we're seeing a lot of these things that are literally manifesting right before our very eyes. Hence, that has Babylon fallen. Because when we speak about spirituality and the laws of Ma'at, right, we're talking about truth, order, justice, reciprocity, right? We've had a lot of things taken away from us, as a people on this soil, in this land. And now I see a lot of things being taken away from the takers, right? Same thing on this land. So the truth is now bringing order, The reciprocity is now taking place because as above, so below, as within, so without. You know what I'm saying? And we're seeing the cycle now. We're going from a 9-year, which was a year of, a lot of healing, a lot of transformation, a lot of different things were going on last year in the 9-year. We spoke about it very heavy on this channel. Now we're into a 10-year, and a 10-year in the form of astrology, that has something to do, is it completion? Is that what 10 years have to do with?
The 10 is 1. It's going back, a new beginning.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So
Yeah,
we're going
because
to 1.
sure. Yeah. So it's a lot of motion, man. It's a whole lot of motion going on in this ocean. Whole lot of motion.
A
Whole
whole
lot.
And this and the to answer the question, Babylon been fell. They're picking straws now. They're trying to save, what they cannot,
Yeah.
because time for that. So the next 100 years, we're seeing balance, we're experiencing heaven, abundance, prosperity, those that are ready to receive that. And
Mm.
this, they're telling me to go back to sex. Sex
Hey.
begins everything, and
Mm.
they're using that very thing against the people. So it is time for now to utilize it for yourself. And I'm not talking about go and doing it. I'm
Right.
talking about this sexual energy that you can harness and use it within yourself for your own healing, for your own empowerment. It
Mm.
is the most productive thing that you have in your tool belt to change your life and change your world is your sexual energy. It is happening, it is creating things in the world, in your world, all the time, just by you thinking of this energy, just by you activating this energy when you engage with another person. But when you're engaging with another person, what is being activated is what is in your subconscious mind. So if your subconscious mind is in poverty consciousness, in just low vibrating issues, abandonment, trauma, chaos, then every time that you engage, that is what you're creating for your own self. And this is why it is so important to target this energy of the sacral chakra, this sex energy that is happening in the world. It is time to look at it and confront it and heal it within yourself. Another important part, you can't disrupt anybody's situation. You was talking about that karma, the laws of Ma'at, and this is why it's so important to not be in you talked about like the people that do things to little kids and then we get angry and we want them to, we want them to suffer, we want to do whatever to make them pay. But it is so important to recognize that there's a force beyond us that takes care of all of those things. We have to focus on the things that we can affect, right? And if it's not for you to handle that situation, right, that you giving your energy to it like that is not beneficial for you, because the only thing that you're doing is creating more of that energy. What you think about, what you focus on becomes actualizes in your reality. And with this sexual energy that they're using, that's why like the Epstein files, all of that, that was their what is it, creme de la creme. This is their big dogs, their
The
big
grand
guns.
finale. That was the grand
Yeah,
finale. Yeah. Yeah.
because they're done.
Yeah.
It takes 1 second. What is it that it says? I know in some scripture, y'all can help me with the scripture because I'm not a theologian, but it
Mm-hmm.
says something in the blink of an eye or by the light switch, and that, like in the moment, it comes
Mm-hmm.
like a thief, and
Yeah.
whatever
Thief in the night. Yeah. 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 Something like a thief in the night. Comes like a
yeah,
thief in the night. Something. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
your
Yeah.
life changes instantaneously with a thought.
Yeah.
This is about your individual power.
Mm.
Like, okay, how many of you guys are watching stuff that you used to watch? It just don't make no sense no more. It's
Yeah.
not funny no more. It's
Yeah.
not, the punch ain't punching.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why a lot of TV shows not out. That's why the movies are not the same. Like everything, you know what I'm saying? The jig is up, man. Like the Wizard of Oz effect is done. Like
Yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody sees the veils falling. So it's like that's where at the end of the day, it's where do you stand now? Because they've already been real. They've always been real. They've always been happening, but things are like speeding up real fast. And I don't know how many people are really like tapped into like how fast things are moving. But you have to think about, just in regards to where we are right now, in a matter of, it could be in a matter of months, there could no longer be anything that we know of all of our lives, this thing called the United States. Like literally, it could be completely gone as far as what we, you know what I'm saying, thought it to be. Right. And not just that, hell, there's certain places on the planet that might be completely wiped out and gone too in a matter of months, because things are really happening at a very rapid rate. Like, and it's happening very fast. So it's like, and if you look at all the distractions that I feel like very intentional to keep us away from spirit, to keep us away from tapping in and grounding with the planet, connecting to the Mother Earth, you know what I'm saying? Like spending time in nature, like really being exposed to all these solar flares and DNA upgrades that are going on right before our very eyes, because all these things are happening. Like we're being bogged down by kind of like allowing ourselves to be held down by this media grip, or you know what I'm saying, this ironclad lockdown, almost no pun intended, to the thing we dealt with like 5-6 years ago, because that's what it is now. I feel like they're kind of playing Hansel and Gretel and dropping crumbs to try to lead back to another one of them.
They are gearing up. Trust and believe. You ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't nothing yet. And this is why it's so important to ground, because it's not about you. This is
Right.
about, it is about you. But what I'm
Yeah,
saying
the
is
collective.
that this is, they're wanting to get all of your energy by any means necessary, because the truth is so evident of how powerful we are as beings. One thing that I want to mention, and Ache to all of the people that are following they're talking about. Did you see the thing that came out about Michael Jackson and how they
Yeah,
that he was using Neverland
to protect the
to
children.
protect children?
Yes, that makes sense. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier about the people who have been truth tellers, what's happened to them. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? That's happened to Prince. It's happened to Mike. It's happened to, you know what I'm saying? The list goes on and on and on. I mean, all the way back to, I forgot the OG, the elder, dang, what was his name? Legendary artist. I want to say from like the 70s, 80s era. I forgot one of my elders that was just telling me, but he actually got murdered. They didn't, I don't think they lived. Who was his name again?
Dick Gregory?
Not Dick Gregory. It was another one. Dang, what was his name? I can't remember his name, but they set him up with a female, and the female ended up setting him up to, I think the mob allegedly had him hit, but it really was deeper than that. It was more about him being smart enough. Was, it might have been Sam Cooke, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
think it was Sam Cooke, because he wanted to get, he was ready to get his master's.
Yeah.
And they was like, nah, you ain't finna do all that. You know what I'm saying? So if we think about just the masters alone, now you gotta think about Mike Jackson, then you gotta think about Prince. And both of them, because they did secure, their masters, and Mike had a whole damn Sony catalog, right? You are now a powerful person if you have the freedom to move about the way that you should be able to with your, you know what I'm saying, portfolio that you purchased fair and square, you know what I'm saying, with legitimate, you know what I'm saying, capital. But that's not how this system, this corporation that we're seeing dying right before our very eyes, that's not how they would like for that to play out. But oh, have we seen how some of this stuff is starting to play out?
It's a wonderful time to exist in. There's something really important, and I'm so glad that you have the platform that you have, because there are so many gurus and leaders and people now that are on the platforms, and they're trying to get as many people as they can. And it's a matter of finding yourself. And when you find yourself, then you could really connect to who your tribe is, right? And
Yeah,
then work within that community. And if you can't find a community, then you are the community
yeah,
until the right people come along. You can't be afraid of being alone. This whole system has been run by fear all the
yeah,
time. All the people that they've gotten, they were scared of what would happen if they would tell and people would find out. And they were, a lot of people were drugged to do things that they would never do. But
yeah,
just the fear of everything falling apart, and knowing that that system was in great power for
mhm,
a long time. Like nobody was able to defeat or win it. But
yeah,
now it's over. It's done. And
yeah,
the way that they're getting power now is by those that are continuing to fund it with
yeah,
energy, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
so what people are being called to now is sovereignty, your
mm,
own sovereignty, not being up under nobody. You are under the most high source. And when you recognize that you are a direct extension of that creator, then you find a way to declare that sovereignty, and you declare it by living it, right? There's a lot of systems and a lot of things and a lot of trust and different contracts and different things that you can get. But if you don't know that within yourself first, nothing is going to come to you. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you know who you are, everything that is needed for you to facilitate your mission is going to show up. The right people are going to show up with the right solutions for everything. But you got to know it. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that are depending on somebody else. Like, okay, so you get a divination from Orisha Bemi, and Orisha Bemi is going to give you a visual of what is necessary and what is needed. But Orisha Bemi cannot save your ass. You got to do that work. You know what I'm saying? And it's like so many people, they trust on, oh, well, this person told me to do this. And a lot of times they don't follow the advice. But then they want to say, well, because of this person, because we have been programmed to blame everybody for our dysfunction.
Yeah.
Nobody want to take accountability. You know, so, oh, if something jacked up, oh, that was because so and so told me they didn't tell me right. Or so that's
Yeah.
what discernment is about. And that's
Yeah.
how come you need to be going to all 100 million different readers to tell you a whole bunch of stuff if you're not even grounded. Anyone that
Yeah.
you go to, they give you information so that you can make the choice on how you're going to move in your life. But if
Yeah.
you're giving another person the power to run your life, then I mean, whose fault is that?
Yeah. I mean, I would equate that. I love how you broke that down too, man, because that's a real thing. Like that is a really real thing. Especially when you talk about even like the consulting, being a consultant for spirit, right? Or a diviner, healer, whatever you want to call it. Whenever you're able to tap into an oracle or some line of communication that's supernatural, right? And then you can kind of transmute or bring that message or that information from that realm to the realm we're in. Like it is totally up to the receiver of the information to, activate and apply the information, and it's one of the things where, I can't remember who it was, but I just heard it recently. I think it was Inky Johnson, man, phenomenal motivational speaker. And he was just saying like, a person can tell you everything in the world, but it's what they show you that really makes the difference. You know what I'm saying? That's a real thing because somebody can tell you anything. The whatever y'all want to call him up there, in that house up there, he's saying that he was gonna do all kind of things. I ain't seen none of them things come to fruition yet. They was talking about checks that was supposed to be getting passed out and all these different types of things that was supposed to be happening, these programs, this, that, but they ain't happened yet. But we're seeing the actions of what this individual is doing, and we're seeing how it's all falling down like a house of cards, right before our very eyes, because it's his actions that are speaking the volumes to the culture and to the globe, not necessarily his words that are actually impacting or influencing a damn thing when it comes to trying to supersede the actions. So it's like us as being someone who receives downloads and messages from spirit, you can't make anybody do anything with that information. All you could do is be the messenger to give them that information. Same thing when people who listen to this channel. Like there's people who I know I'm proud and grateful for that, I reached out, whether it's through email or DM or whatever the case may be, and just sharing like some of the impact of what the channel has done for them. And not even about myself, but the teachers, and then also the fellowship with the tribe, like being a part of a congregation, being in, a space where everybody feels like we're connected, like this is a real thing, right? So when you talk about that, I look at that like going to the gym and trying to like hold the trainer responsible for you not eating right, for you not, doing your work on your off days when you wasn't there with the trainer. Like you still got to do the work. Like the trainer gonna give you the plan, but it's up to you to take the plan and actualize and manifest and activate the plan. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's where we are now. Now we're laying the seeds for the plan, but then we also have to activate, this process for this plan. Because shout out to Miss Mariana, I remember the first time she was on here, she's like, I'm solution based. Like, I don't, I'm all cool with the talking and all that, but what is the end game? Like, where do we go from here? What are we going to do next? Like, how do we set ourselves up? Shout out Professor Kaba. What is our 100-year plan, family? Where do we see ourselves 100 years from now? Because we see what's happening now. That's dead. So now, where do we rise up? Up, you mighty people. Ibatu to the Honorable Marcus Mazaya Gowry. Like, where do we go now? Where are the Buffalo Soldiers at? You know what I'm saying? This is like Bob said, this is our redemption song. So how does that song look? What's the video we're going to put together for this song? Because we see in the song, it's, it's falling. Like,
and it begins with you. It begins with every individual making the choice to want to do better for themselves. Um, there was somebody who just came up. I just learned about this today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, remember, doom, 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 doom,
Love and happiness.
and happiness.
Yeah, Al Green.
What's his name again?
Yeah, Al Green.
Al
Yes,
Green.
sir. That's a
Well, this is
true
what I learned
classic.
about Al Green today, ladies and
Uh
gentlemen.
oh.
Al Green used to beat the hell out of his wife. He used to beat her so bad. He used to beat her bad. Not only her, he beat a bunch of women. And then he became a church bishop or something like that. And like nobody ever really talked about the things that he did because now he was the love and happiness man, preacher, and the Lord saves everybody. I just learned that today. I saw a woman put a video out with all of the information, all of the facts. This is not like gossip. This is factual information that you can find online about the cases that he had. But back in the day, the entertainment industry before the internet, there was what is it? Publicity managers and people
Yeah,
that
publicist. A
control all
publicist.
publicists. Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Mm-hmm.
there was the only thing you had magazines, you had the TV channels that they allowed us to have, and so anything that was crazy they kept that under wraps, and it was
Yeah.
really easy to keep it under wraps, and nobody knew anything unless they wanted you to know,
Yeah.
so it's a very powerful system that created this whole matrix, and
Yeah.
it is a beautiful thing to watch it crumble because that's exactly what's happening. And it's just important to not be afraid, not to be scared about what's happening now, because it's necessary. Here's another one to remember: we are infinite beings. We keep coming back over and over and over. You can come back as many times as you need to come back. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? This whole fear of death is just ridiculous. It is a
Yeah.
trans that happens, and use that concept of death to make people feel this finality and this fear. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I said, it's all been based on fear, and that's what has to change. And it could only,
Mm-hmm.
but you make the choice.
Yeah. False evidence appearing real. That's what fear is. False evidence appearing real. Shout out to brother Yusef. I wanted to pull this question up because he had sent it a while ago. I had started because I wanted to make sure that I got it. But he wanted to know is grounding, the grounding that we were discussing. I think this was earlier when we was talking about like putting our feet in the ground and connecting with nature, hugging trees, things like that. He posed this question is the grounding that we're discussing part of what we would consider to be spiritual hygiene?
Absolutely, 100%. Anything that has to do with getting those energies from the outside away from you, outside of you, detoxing from those things, that is your spiritual what did you just call it?
Spiritual hygiene.
Spiritual hygiene. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, 100%. Doing my favorite, sexual detoxes,
Mm.
those are excellent for spiritual hygiene. If you sexually detox for 30 days, you are ridding your system from so many things. And I mean, there's a lot more work that has to be done, especially if you're a woman. But 30 days is enough time to help you reacclimate and bring yourself back to self so that you're thinking with your own mind. Because as a woman, when you are engaging with a partner or partners, you are receiving the information codes from those partners, right? So this is not about shame or judgment. This is just about exactly what is happening. So that information stays in your body for your whole life, right? So you must detox from it. You must be able to cleanse yourself from the energies that are within your system from the world, whether it's through penetration, what you're eating, what detoxes are necessary. And a sexual detox for your body is absolutely 100% necessary if you want to get your mind right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's real because the energy exchange, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because it's
And
kind of like to me, huh?
you're taking in people's energy all the time. Okay, let me give you another example. You know how you see everybody, girls doing, all this and the language and girl, that's an energy that came from a field And now this energy came to a person, and now this person is acting like this too. Now this person is doing all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? That is sexual energy. Just because it's doing the do, it does not mean that it's not sexual, creative, powerful energy. And when you have that power of influence, that now you are mimicking other people and you're sounding like other people because you heard it, you got to recognize who you are, and you got to be okay with what it is that you're bringing. And that's another issue that we have because of the entertainment industry. Everybody thinks that they got to look like this, they got to act like that. This is what success is, this is what that is. And people don't recognize that the success, true success, those people that got the fake fiat notes, they can't have it, they can't buy it, they can't get this, they cannot get this at all.
That's facts. Well, because what would you consider to be true wealth or true success or true, riches or affluence, whatever you want to call it? Like, what would you consider your definition of that?
My definition of abundance and wealth is definitely my health, the control of my time. That is everything. To be
Mm,
able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. Ooh, I love that. To be able to, when I do need to go into nature, that's available for me. To laugh with friends, to be around people that I love, that is abundant. And to be in spaces where I can be who I am, that's like I feel my most abundant richness in that space. And that cannot be bought. That
mm,
abundance. I am an infinite being. I'm an infinionaire. And so the way that I liquidate this energy that I have, and that takes care of me. Sometimes it's money, sometimes it's things, sometimes it could be anything, whatever is necessary, whatever I need, I always receive it because as Finionaire, I am a direct extension of that source. And everything that I want, that I desire, it's already mine. The only thing that I have to do is align with it. And I align with it by giving my time to source in my solitude, in my quietness, in my time in nature, in the good things that I do for the people that I love, even the people, I was going to say the people that I don't love. I love everybody. I just love some people from afar. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I'm
yeah,
not gonna let you get in. No, you know what I mean? But I will love the people that I love from afar. And I also send out energy. I could think positive thoughts. For my mother, for example, I don't have a physical connection with my mom. My mom is still living, but the separation, a lot of people have had to separate through this journey. I
mm,
know in my journey, I'm the Lone Ranger, right? And so when I don't hate nobody. I ain't mad at nobody. I send energy to my mom. I think about the most wonderful and purest and abundance and health. I think about this green bubble and I see her singing and dancing, and I send that energy. I take that energy from my heart and I shoot it out to my mom and I send it out to her, with so much love. And I do that with all of the people that I care about and love, everybody that has been part of my existence. There are, players in my little movie, and I appreciate every single aspect of that, even the parts that hurt. Because I'm an alchemist, so I transform and transmute, and I use that energy for my benefit. So there's not, I can't I can't be controlled. I can't, like people can ask me to do things, but to tell me what to do, that's the only one who can ever tell me what to do is the creator source. And when the creator source wants me to do something, she speaks through me. So then I know what to do.
Ashe. Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah, that's a real thing. For real, for real. Like, and that goes back to, I feel like, just tapping in the spiritual hygiene, that we spoke about, like with the ground and things of that nature, because those things definitely add, whew, I can speak for myself. It adds a whole nother level of patience, a whole nother level of just calmness. You know what I'm saying? Like just being able to really process things without being riled up. Just driving. Like it's crazy how much stuff is going on. Like it's nuts to see. Every day is something wow. You know what I'm saying? Happening. Whether you're seeing it in person, you're hearing about it. The message gets to you, social media, whatever the case may be. But that's the reality of the space that we're in right now. You know what I'm saying? Like it really is a lot of things are going on. So I think at this point in time, it's like I feel like no better point or time to start really paying attention to like the hygiene of the connectedness to the creator. You know what I mean? Regardless of what your faith is, I don't care if you're a Buddhist, I don't care if you're a Christian, if you're a Muslim, I don't care, you know what I'm saying? If you Yahweh, like it don't matter. You Ifa, you Sheshe, you Kemet, it don't matter. Whatever, whoever, whomever, he, she, he, your creator is, tap in, because now's the time for me personally. I'm just waiting for the motherships because I see them, I feel them, I sense them. We got some visitations already taking place. I don't know about y'all and where y'all at in your part of the world, but there's a lot of cloud activity that I know is not natural that's happening here in the States. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's specifically to try to cover up some of the things that are taking place in regards to the visitors, because we do have, some people that are guardians of the galaxy per se that, are from a much higher dimensional realm that are very present here at this time on the planet. So for me, I look at it like it hasn't been a better time, you know what I'm saying, for us to be here as a people, because united we stand, divided we fall. It ain't over till we win. Well, that regime is over. And so to me, that means it's time for us to win. And who was that? T-Pain, all I do is win, 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 no matter what. Like, that's how I see it. Like, it's all we do is win because we still here.
Mm-hmm.
There's powers or so-called powers, but energies and entities that play, if they had it their way, we would all be going long, 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 long days ago.
This
But
is rapture. Like people were expecting to be flying up, and then look, all those things are coming. But yeah, just
yeah.
recognizing this time and space. And I want to ask you, what do you feel is richness and abundance? Orisha Mijagun.
Freedom, freedom. Mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, energetically free. And,
Mm-hmm.
and and there is no having to leave this realm of this body in order to achieve and accomplish that, to manifest that. So I
Yes.
feel like I'm living my, abundance and my wealth. Are there things that, I feel like should be better? Yes, absolutely. And I don't care how far down the path of my accomplishment of freedom that I get, I'm never going to fully reach the 100% or the 1,000%, because then that would be perfect. And,
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that I'll ever be perfect, but that don't mean I can't give a perfect effort at trying to be the best I could be while I'm imperfectly perfect. You feel me? Or perfectly imperfect, however they call that phrase. So it's like that's where it's like there's no limit to what you can put into. You know what I'm saying? There's no limit to what you can apply, the pressure that you can put into you creating the diamond out of your experience. I can't create nobody else's diamond. I ain't
Nope.
trying to. I don't want to create yours. I don't want to create none of the tribes. I ain't trying to create nobody's diamond, but my diamond, I'm working on that diamond. You
Yes.
feel me? It's like, and I'm gonna work on it for as long as there's breath in my body, because that's all I can do. But I'm gonna damn sure work on it and try to get that thing as bright and shine as as much light as it possibly can. And, and I'm at peace with that. But yeah, my freedom is freedom. I mean, my definition of wealth, or of abundance and prosperity, is freedom. Mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, energetically, just being at peace with freedom.
Ache. And it's here for us now to get it. This is an amazing time to be here. I have to send a shout out because she was coming into my mind to Wunam. Wunam.
Yeah,
She followed me on TikTok. I was like, hey, she
man.
her work. And so we have another person in common from this community. And I just thought that it was really powerful because what I shared with this individual was in congruent with what Wunam was sharing. But Wunam is that's her world. And what she does in her world, that's Wunam. That's what she does.
Yeah,
And it's like, and everybody has their role, and it's a beautiful thing when you have a community that is in coherence, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
oh, yeah,
And that's how you know that something is divinely orchestrated, as they would
yes,
say,
yeah,
because this that's happening now in the world is not about any one particular person gaining people. That shit is crazy. It is about people being able to do their part so the people can get the things that they need. Like even a person that's making a video and they think that ain't nobody watching, your word is necessary. Your whatever it is that you have to offer, it is so necessary because one person can see that and it will completely change their whole life. One
yes,
why I share in the way that I share, like when I share y'all that I had an anxiety attack is because it's important. A lot of people see me as, I've been doing this for a long time. So people have this idea and they'll tend to like put me on this pedestal and act like, oh, well, she knows. And it's just so important for people to know that none of us have arrived, right? If we're
Mm-mm.
still here, we're learning. We are all learning. And so I'm grateful for the ability to be able to translate the things that happen to me, right? And be able to paint the picture so that you could see it, because I'm a learner by experience. Like, you couldn't tell me don't do that, because if I want to do it, I'm going to do it. And if it's bad, then I'm going to have to experience that bad so that I can see for myself. And there are a lot of people that are in that personality type. You know what I'm saying? It's just that's how some of us learn. There's some people that you could tell them something and they learn. You told them that hey, that's enough for them, and that's
Yeah.
fine. That's the experience. We our experiences and our processes are so important, right? And so I have a process that I created because of my own life and the things and my spirit team and the people, the energies that guide me. But that's for me. And so what is for you, and you have to find that. All of us that share information, then we can give you information, but you have to go through your own process. You have so many people that are like, they're so awful in the low part, and it's just like, oh, I can't wait for this to hurry up and get past. When you learn to focus and find the gem in the darkness, it's going to make your ride a whole lot easier,
Yeah.
because you're going to go through darkness in this realm, this part of our training. And what you learn in that process, nothing can take that. Nothing, nobody can match it. Nobody, your experience is your own. So you have to honor that. And in that honor, you're honoring the hardship. You're honoring those times where you got your stripes, because that is how you get to abundance and fulfillment. Like, you can't bury it, you can't hide it. You know what I'm saying? You have to, what is it? You can't get over it. You can't, too low, you can't get under it. So no, you can't get over it. So no, y'all know what I'm talking about. That song, yeah. You got to go through it, and when you go through it, you have to enjoy the process of that training that you're going through, because it is always for your highest good. It is always for your evolution. So, Ache,
Yeah,
Ache.
no,
I
that's
went on
facts, man.
a tangent.
No, 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 no. The tribe, and we vibing. Look, shout out to Kashita. She said we don't need nobody else bring no mac and cheese to the cooker. I know that's right, Kashita. No, we got that covered, buddy. Cause look, everybody ain't gonna season it right. They're not gonna have it. You know what I'm saying? They got to be brown on the top, just right. Like, it's a certain kind of. I like mine a certain kind of way, man. Everybody can't do it that kind of way. So I needed a special kind of way, so that way, we got everything together how it's supposed to be at the good old cookout, man. For sure, for sure. That's a real thing, man. But yeah, nah, you said a lot though. But that's real though. Especially like I said in a time like now, because especially I remember talking to the youth, like we can't look at what everybody else's glitz and glamour, you know what I'm saying, lifestyles of the rich and famous and all that, because everything that look like gold ain't always the 100%, you know what I'm saying, 14, 24 karat, you know what I'm saying? It might have that gold appeal to it, but it
Yeah.
don't necessarily mean that it's the real deal. And I feel like that's where we're seeing now, where the creme de la creme, the cream of the crop is always going to rise to the top. Just as much
Mhm.
as the moon is going to, be followed by the sun. Like it's the cycle, it's the circle of life. We saw that in the Lion King, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, Scar got Mufasa, but you know what I'm saying? Simba came back and got hold of Scar. This is, we can go all the way back to the Anunnaki, you know what I'm saying? If we're going to talk about this, story or this sorry and drama, but it is the real thing in these things called cycles of life. So it's like right now we're seeing a cycle decay, and it's eating itself from the inside out. You know what I mean? Kind of like, I don't know if y'all ever seen that video or that picture that went viral years ago in the Everglades in Florida, Miami area. I think it was Alligator Alley, and it was a boa, like a big, maybe 25, 30, maybe it was a Burmese python actually in the Everglades, and it had ate an alligator,
Mhm.
right? But the gator, I guess the gator, even in death or even, you know what I'm saying, in the process of being digested, didn't stop fighting to the point where it literally bursted open. Like the guts of the Burmese python busted open. You could see the dead gator and the python ended up dying because he somehow fought his way fought his way out of the, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy. But if y'all Google it, I guarantee you'll see that on the internet where, you know what I'm saying, the Burmese python ate the gator and the gator, you know what I'm saying, exploded out of his stomach. So I look at like that's what we're seeing in real time, you know, with this system. And it's literally eating itself from the inside out, and it's imploding and exploding from the inside out. And we're seeing all the debris and the decay and the maggots and, you know what I'm saying, all the other things kind of consume as the vultures are swarming around, waiting to go ahead and, you know, tap in and clean off the bones and the skeleton and all that. And then we let that bone and skeleton kind of just descend down into the soil, and we get some nice, good soil to kind of bring about some new, you know, transformations to this planet.
A new thing, not a recreation of what was in the old, because everything is getting seen now too. The mask is off.
Yeah.
People can hide and try to be something that they're not, you know, for some money, because people are smart now. Like, even the people that have not taken the time to do their so-called work, right? They're feeling what is happening. What is happening now is absolutely undeniable.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it is not gonna, it's, we ain't seen nothing yet, I'll say that.
No, yeah. We're just getting started. We're just getting started. I think one of the biggest things too, and this is where I want to give a shout out and just pay homage and gratitude to all the elders that come through and bless us, you know, on the channel, man, because they drop a lot of jewels, and I got a lot of plans that I'm working on to bring forward to the tribe in the very very near future. And you know, like I said, I'm gonna move on them actions versus the talking narrative, but I give gratitude to the elders that's come through because they really shined and shone light, you know, on this whole particular, you know, explosion or implosion, you know, for a while now. And I look back at, you know, a video that I'm gonna reshare again with Professor Cabo. He was like, you know, we are the currency. Like the currency that we've been using, this fake fiat, as you called it earlier, this stuff has been dying from the time it was created. You know what I'm saying? Because it was never based off of anything of substance. It was all based off of thievery, you know what I'm saying? Barbaric, you know what I'm saying? Like kind of colonialization. Like it was all built off of stolen legacy, stolen land, stolen energy, you know what I'm saying? Stolen history, like everything. So it's like now you can't help but to see that the mother is coming to take, you know, complete and full, complete utter control of her planet, of herself. You know what I'm saying? Like Mike said, we're looking at the man in the mirror. Well, I'm looking at the mama, and she's getting a lot clearer. Like, and that's real. And it's like it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to see. It really is. It's a beautiful thing to see. A lot of people are waking up to it, and a lot of people who were for the maggot team, I see that they're jumping ship. You know, like they jumping off with hell of high water, because you got to realize these people are investing in a whole lot of goddamn concentration camps that are popping up all over the place, and they're all private investors, the same ones who have been running this nasty, filthy, funky prison industrial complex for the last I don't know how many decades. They're all in cahoots. They're all in bed. They all got fleas. They're all on the way to being dead. But we still got to pay attention to them, you know, because they're trying to throw the Hail Mary just to make sure that they can kind of ratchet up as much as they can as they decay their way out.
The solution for this whole situation, in my view, is independent private communities. Independent private communities that recognize who they are and can come together and collaborate with other independent private communities. What I do, the work that I do, Master Vibration 13, I help people remember who they are through their chakra system, through recognizing their own power and dealing with all of those things. And then I teach them about the tools that I use so that you could remember who you are, which is this orgone technology. Not only do I teach you about it, but this year in 2026, I'm actually teaching you how to create it, because it's time. I haven't done that in the 13 years that I've been doing this work, but now it's time to do it. And I'm doing it in privately with the people that are members of mastervibration13.com. And then once you have this information down and you're ready for your freedom and your sovereignty, Infinity Ministries supports that journey. So this is about finding, and in between that, my bridge is the I Syndicate. So the I Syndicate is other infinite beings, other independent beings, sovereign beings that recognize their power and are ready to make moves, because we have so many rights that we don't know about. When you have your own organization, your own church, your own ministry, your house, your home, that is your church. You are the minister of that domain, right? And so when you are the minister of your domain, you have all of the power and all of the rights to protect it, to monetize it, to live peacefully, to do all of the things that the so called governments and the powers that were, the things that they've done and the things that they've implemented on blind people. We have those same rights to do those things for ourselves, for our own private communities, for our families. There's so many ways to do it. I'm going to recommend right now, since we're talking about it, do some research on a trust called the 508C18. It is a faith based organization trust. Learn about this kind of trust, because the entertainment industry and that world, they taught us how to create and how to do all kinds of things. It's time for us to do it privately for ourselves, for our communities. There are many artists, there are many actors, there are many singers, there are many people that are in their authentic truth nature, in love, that have a lot to share with the world. And there are people that need to be entertained properly. That's just part of life. And so the Babylon falling, that doesn't mean that world of entertainment is over. That just means that it's time to do it in a different way. And it needs to be taken care of by people that are conscious enough to know to love on the planet and its people, not to control and hate and torture people. However, that world will still exist. You can decide if you want to be part of it or not by your vibrational frequency. So if you are ready to start doing the work, all you have to do is make the decision. Make the decision. mastervibration13.com. You have the Ache network. I'm going to be here every single month talking about sacral sexual healing in the private Patreon for the Ache network. So, hey, we're here doing our work. It's up to you to make the decision. You want to do it or not, you know?
You said the work don't work itself, huh?
Sure don't.
But the work if you do the work. I know
That's
that part. The work if you do the work. And that's big facts. Yeah, no, that's powerful, man. And like I said, it's definitely time for the work. I think, and there's so many different conversations that need to be had that we will definitely bring to the Patreon, to the private community, because we haven't even spoke about food, clothing, shelter, and protection. Because as we see all these different things happening, we got to really pay attention to keeping our heads on the swivel, and also knowing the difference between allies, what I'm saying, and enemies, because all allies that look like allies ain't allies, and all enemies that might look like enemies might not necessarily be your enemies, because there's such a thing called frenemies too.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where another part of like really tapping into spirit, I feel like, opens up a whole nother realm of intuitiveness. Because if you think about it, we spoke about this. Shout out to Wunam. I think it was the last call I did with her. And we were speaking about the energy and how to be able to use trans communication, and to be able to use telekinesis and telecommunication and telepathy, all these different realms of communication. Because you spoke about it before, about this threat of the blackness and going, turn out the lights and all these different things. And a lot of other people have, I think, had visions or premonitions, or just, excuse me, or from that school of thought that something like that may take place. So I look at it like that's when we really got to believe in that superpower, that supercell, because that series, which I reference all the time on here, is a very powerful, I feel like, really, really crystal clear version of what we as a people are. There's different levels, different levels to your frequencies, different levels to your development, to your spirituality. But whichever the case may be, we all have the ability to tap into a supernatural power and a supernatural force, because that same supernatural power and force is the same one that exploded when we came into this creation, into this, physical form. You feel me? Because we always have been, we always will be, and we always was. So it's like, there's no such thing as us leaving. It's just which form or which frequency we're operating, in. And shout out to Simeon Toko, because I remember with we spoke about him. Are you familiar with who Simeon Toko is?
I'm not.
So he was a brother who pretty much was immortal. He had the ability to pretty much regenerate himself. And there's different animals in our animal kingdom that can do that. If I'm not mistaken, the starfish, I believe, can regenerate itself. The octopus, I believe, regenerates itself. Hell, even lizards,
Yeah.
can regenerate their tail. So he had the power of regeneration. And they tried to kill him multiple times. They tried it in a lot of different ways, but they could never kill him. One time they even chopped his body up into multiple different pieces and flew him to different parts of the world, like, you know what I'm saying, with military planes. And he still regenerated and came back to life. And he told them, like, I'm not alone. And there's going to be a lot more like me who will be here. So do the research. I'm just saying, like, look it up. Don't like Professor Cobb said, don't believe a word I say. Just look it up.
Yeah.
Like, but that's a real thing. And so when you know that there's a true documented story of a Simeon Toko, right? And then you see another artist, another deep thinker, another seer, another Sophia Stewart, another matrix creator. You just, to me, created another level of the matrix with Supercell. And then he even was so dope with the genius of how he did the play on words from sickle cell to supercell. Because if you think about it, only melanated people can get sickle cell, allegedly, right? So he played on it to supercell, which means we have that super, you know what I'm saying, element that we can tap into.
There's look, the people, and I saw another, all of the truth is coming out. People of color, Black people specifically, are the solution, are the beginning, are the reason why everything exists. Like people, my daughter's grandmother has type O blood. Anybody that has type O blood, you are supreme beings with gifts and powers that are available to you when you're ready to tap in. You know, and that's the whole thing too. It is important to respect everybody's role and the position that they play and where they're at, because we have a lot of people that are like waking up, right? And they're like, they want to wake up their family, they want to, you know, try to wake everybody up. It is not for us to do that. You can only be the example of what you know, right? You have to let people live their experience because it's there for a reason. You don't know what karma a person is playing out in their life. You know, a lot of people get frustrated, like when children, you know, get hurt and things like that. A child, just because they're in a little body, doesn't mean that is their first incarnation. You know, and so it's so important for us. That's why that whole judgment thing is so important, because we gotta be mindful of everybody's story. You know, it's precious. You know, I have to go through what I go through. You got to go through what you go through. And I mean, along the way, that it's our lessons. That's how we're learning this human experience. Like for me, I know that before I came to this realm, I know that I asked the Most High for patience. I know I asked for patience because everything in my life required for me to have patience, like everything. My family, my children, my relationship, like, and so I'm grateful for all of the things that occurred in my life so that I can have the patience of Job. You know what I'm saying? It's like, the things that you gain in life, like people, they'll look at somebody with courage and they think that courage is based on, oh, I just want to have courage today, so I'm gonna have it. Things have to occur in your life so that you could develop that courage. So you can't get mad at the awful things that happen in your life to raise you. You know, we have too many people that are feeling sorry for themselves over stuff that they go through. And it's a matter of switching that perception, because everybody goes through something. Everybody goes through something. What is that something? I think you were talking about it, Orisha Bemi, that darkness makes the diamond.
Yeah. That cold. You gotta go through the cold.
That
You gotta
darkness.
go through the cold. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the darkness hell. That's where Batman came out of. UK did bats come out the cave, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, he had to come out, man, hey, and turn it up, knock some things over, you know. Black Panther, you know what I mean? Like, he came out of the darkness of Wakanda. You feel me? Like the dark, you know, so it's like the caves or the, you know, the mountain that opened up, you know what I mean? That brought forth T'Challa. So it's like, you know, we have to go through, you know, that phase. We have to go through that building up of, like, you just can't, nothing is built without a firm foundation. Well, where does the foundation come? It comes from when we at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? Drake said what? Started from the bottom, now we're here. So hey, the real foundation starts at the bottom. It starts at the core. If we talk about the chakras, it starts at the root. You know what I mean? You can't build from the crown down. You got to start from the root up. You know, and then that's where, you know, as we do that, we elevate through those phases, you know what I'm saying? As we were created to do.
Yep, that's right.
Real quick, you got a Cash App? Because the tribe is asking for the Cash Apps. I wanted to make sure I shared yours first, and then
My Cash App is $SEG13 love.
got you. Let me see, can I find it real quick so I can share it on the thing. But yeah, so there's definitely a lot going on. Definitely a lot going on. Let's see.
And thank you for your contributions. Your contributions go directly to Infinite Air Ministries and the work that we do at Master Vibration 13 and Infinite Air Ministries. And we sure got a lot to do.
I know that's right. And then what did you say the name of your Cash App was again? I'm gonna try to see if I can copy and paste it. What is it again?
$SEG13LOVE.
Let's see. Okay, got it. Boom. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna share it. So I'm gonna share that tribe. I can't remember who it was I asked, but I'm gonna definitely get it up on the screen for y'all. I gotta do some copying real quick.
I would like to give a tip while you're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
The number 13, we just had a Friday the 13th that passed. Very powerful
Go ahead.
time.
Let me get out the way.
It is the number of the divine feminine. It's death and rebirth. It is a very powerful tool to use whenever you want to actualize something. It's kind of like the ache is like your abracadabra, and so it is when you're using the number 13. Like when I say 13 love, I am amplifying that comes before the 13. So whatever I put before the 13 is going to be amplified, and that goes both ways, so use it wisely. But it is a very powerful number, and you could use it every day. It's really important that all of the things that you learn that are spiritual, that you integrate them into your normal life. There are a lot of people that have this idea that spirituality looks a certain way. It is not the same for everybody. So your spirituality is going to look different than another person's spirituality, and that must be honored. So doing your spiritual work during the, like, meditation doesn't have to be at the same time every day. You know, you don't have to sit in the way that you see other people sit. If your life or your body is calling for you to meditate in a certain way and to do something that may be weird to somebody, but your spirit is calling you to do it, that's what you have to do, you know? And so finding your own way, there's nothing more important than that. Your individual identity, your blueprint, your fingerprint, who you are as an individual is the most power that you have. Your individual self, your self identity is your power. Ache.
Ashe. Oh, yeah. I've been fighting with this dog on Cash App. I got it. I was trying to create the QR code to put up there, but I'm just gonna share the Cash App so I can get it up there. I'm learning how to use this thing slowly but surely. I get it all up there, family. So all right. So I think that was Chick King. I hope I'm saying that name right. I'm gonna just say at C King. I definitely appreciate you. So we got those coming. I've been sharing those. You should see IMGs right there, and then I'll be sharing mine as well. But yeah, it's definitely that was powerful. And then as far as where we are now, because I definitely have a lot more that I want to share on this topic or some similar topics. Like we didn't even get a chance to get into like media literacy and talking about how, a lot of this stuff is, it's seductive, subliminal seduction. You know what I'm saying? Like it's synthetic energy. Shout out to Dr. Phil Valentine. I was just studying the notes from the last time he was here, and he was saying how, AI is old. Like that's old. Like that's outdated. Like they doing something different now called synthetic energy. You know what I'm saying? Synthetic intelligence, which is even deeper than AI. I'm like, yo, I got to run that back. You know what I'm saying? And share it with the tribe, because I don't know how many people caught how heavy and how deep that was, but he definitely dropped some jewels on that one, man. I had to kind of really take it back and study it a bit, because that's powerful. Like,
Yeah.
but we know that.
Messing with people's minds for real. The imaging of the entertainment industry. Like, for example, I saw a video of it was so funny. It's Shaq, but he looked like they mixed Shaq and 50 Cent. And so you can always, if you're paying attention to the AI, you're gonna be able to tell when you're looking at someone or when you're looking at a computer generated thing.
Yeah.
And again why your grounding is so important, because when you have this discernment within yourself, you don't have to, you can see it immediately and you already know what it is. And
Yeah.
so they're using this technology, you know, against the people. They're using everything that they can. You already know there's clones. They done cloned everybody.
Yeah.
You like all of these things are, and it's important not to be caught up in all of the craziness of it, because even that, even like when you're just like in awe of everything that's happening, that freezes you and it puts you in a space. Now what are you doing about that? So it's important to train yourself as you're getting information. Okay, so like for example, if you're listening to something and it's gossip, you can tell whether it's gossip because it's
Mm-hmm.
for you.
Yeah.
Is it business? Is that going to change your life? Then why are you there? Why are you listening to that? Why are you giving it any energy? But you have to be the one to do that. And you have to be able to decipher what is for you. And when you know that everything that you're giving energy to is feeding your system, it's going to make you have different choices. You know, it's like when I already know what the news is doing, so I'm not giving it a bit of my energy. I already know, like movies and stuff, is certain things. When I go to a movie, I go to a movie usually to do some research. And then when I do it, I'm definitely organed out. I do my meditation. I do not watch the ads. I don't want anything that I don't want in my system. I'm not going to have it. So I know how to protect myself, because the world is the world. And so the power is in you. And so when you know how to discern these things and see if what you're looking at is real or if it's some bullshit, then you're able to exist in the world without the fear, because it all becomes crystal clear. You know what I'm saying? You see somebody and you're like, how many of y'all? I ain't even gonna. I shouldn't bring that up. But Jamie Foxx, when he did his special after they took him away and did all of that, Jamie Foxx came back and did a special. He just, I don't know if it's me, but he was not funny at all. That was not Jamie. No way that was Jamie. And some people were saying, oh well, it was, you know, the trauma that he had, that he underwent. Look, after I saw that video with that lady, Ellen's ex-girlfriend, and she was in the ambulance and they had her covered up like her ass was dead, and her ass got up like, y'all couldn't tell me nothing about her. I was laughing so hard. I was like, thank you, Hollywood. And that happened over 7 years ago. You know, maybe a little less than that. So we already know. We already know they've been playing this game, and these actors. Tom Hanks, Tom, we're not gonna go into none of the people or anything. Just know that nobody is who you thought they were. Okay, not nobody. I'm gonna say there may be some, you know, there's people in there that have to be in there because they have to level the playing field, they have to bring balance, they have to do some work.
Yeah.
So let's not
Cat
judge
Williams.
the
Shout out to
industry.
Cat.
Yeah, let's not judge the whole
Mm-hmm.
industry and say that everybody is demonic,
Yeah.
because there's some people, and that's why judgment is important, not to judge. There's some
Well.
people to go there and do their thing. But those people that give you the motherfucking heebie jeebies, trust your gut.
Mm.
That
Yeah. I mean, that's why Cat, Cat disrupted he really like set it off. Like he set it off for real, because everything it seemed like that he dropped on that other podcast platforms channel, man. Once that is like like it just that was it. Like that was he dropped the bomb. and after that, what I'm saying, we just saw everything, the cookie just crumble, you know what I'm saying? It just the snowball just kind of grew a lot more momentum, and it never slowed down. It never stopped. So,
and
and there's a lot more where that came from, unfortunately.
I hope that people understand, overstand, and recognize that this goes beyond actors. This goes beyond government. We opened up the podcast today talking about, what did we talk about? The Atlanteans, Sirius, the well, we didn't. I don't think we talked about that. But there's so many different beings, right, that are going to be showing up because we are reflections of those things. We have those things in our DNA and we didn't know, and so the truth is out now. So
Yeah,
within the next 100 years, we're going to see so many wonderful and beautiful things unfolding, right? There's going to be some ugly parts, because when you're getting well, you got to purge and throw up and it's all nasty or whatever.
oh yeah, yeah.
but it is for our highest good. It is all for our benefit, and you are the controller by how you decide to offer your time. Where are you giving your energy? What are you giving your energy to? Relationships are breaking up all kinds of relationships because it is important to have that time of solitude with yourself so that you can connect with your creator. When didn't Jesus go to the mount by himself for some time? Didn't Moses go somewhere by himself? Didn't Buddha have to go somewhere by himself? All of energies, and it's an example of, like, I'm not saying break up with your spouse and break up with your family to do it. I'm saying that the reason why that is happening for so many people is because it is a requirement. They have asked to have that solitude so that they can grow, because they can't to do certain things. I can't have a company called Master Vibration 13 and not be able to master stuff. I can't have a ministry of Infinite Ministries and not be able to show you how you are the money. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and with all of that are all of these things that have to be in place that are for me to experience and put them, where they need to go. So
yeah, it's a real thing, man. I feel like, and it's it's something that you mentioned earlier about alchemizing things, but we're all alchemists. All of
yes.
us are alchemists. And I love that book too. For those who haven't read the book, Alchemist, The Alchemist, it's a very powerful book. Very, very powerful piece of work. Because it speaks about the transformation process, really, to me. I mean, and even like going into the the butterfly going into the cocoon, you know what I mean? And becoming a caterpillar, and then, coming out of the cocoon to become the butterfly. Like we spoke about the dung beetle, Kepra, the god of transformation from ancient Kemet. Like all those are that same story of going into isolation. And then let me not give my shout out to the Honorable El Haj Malik El Shabazz, because his first, I would say, isolation was when he went to prison. That's when Detroit Red became, Malcolm Little, and Malcolm Little became Malcolm X. And then, from there he went through another transformation when Malcolm X became El Haj Malik El Shabazz. So it's like, for that one, he still had to go on his Hajj to Mecca, you know what I mean, to come back into another transformation. So it's like, that's a real thing. We're seeing it in our culture in a lot of ways. Huh?
It's not always planned either.
Yeah, nah.
Like I never I just an example. I had to go into an isolation that I never thought I would have to go through. I was in a relationship for over 30 years of my life. And in that relationship, I thought, oh yeah, no, this is everything. End all be all, to death do us part, all of that. But life said, no, that's not your path. You gonna have to be by yourself without anybody, without your children, without your loved ones. You have to be with yourself in the layer, and you have to do this work. Ache, and so it is. So it's something that you can't. I mean, you can say it. I'm gonna go into my solitude now. I'm just gonna walk into it. But when you're working with spirit, when you have this divine alignment, it moves you. It moves you, and you just following the instruction, and give grace that you're able to receive it and know that it is an instruction for you to be with yourself. And you don't always know that, because I was fighting it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to. You know what I'm saying? Who wants to do that? Who wants to give up everything that they knew so that they can start over on a path that they don't really have any idea how they're going to get through that, right? That's the test. That's the challenge. You calling yourself an infinionaire. Are you really an infinionaire? You got to show and improve. So show and prove. Show and improve and prove.
Big facts, big facts, big facts, big facts. Yeah, man. Nah, it's definitely been another phenomenal episode. I got a couple of more things I want to share before we get up out of here. But did you want to lead the tribe or anything else before we get up out of here? I am SEG.
I want to thank all of the people that have made a contribution. Look, my glasses are broken, y'all. My foster grants broke. So I got to be over here looking like this. Be like, um, and thank you to CKE King for saying this is good energy to tap into. The transparency has been authentic. Gracias. Ache. You are very, very welcome. So thank you so much for supporting. If you want to continue to inquire and learn about Master Vibration 13 and what I teach, please come to mastervibration13.com. I will be doing my intensive Orgone Energy Alchemy intensive is going to be happening in March 5th and 8th is 4 hours of intensive training on Orgone Energy Battery Alchemy. I'll be sharing all of the things that I've learned on making these creations, how to use them, how to create them, and how to distribute them as well. So if you're interested in that, please come to mastervibration13.com. It is my private community, and I can only service people that are within that community. Gracias.
Ashe. So with that, family, I definitely want to give a shout out to everybody who came through, chopped it up with us tonight. Shout out to IMSEG13. And yeah, I definitely got a lot more I'll be sharing with you all as well, family. But one thing I do know and realize is that a distracted people cannot organize, right? So we definitely got to tap into that spirit, of oneness, of, the all becoming the all, the one becoming the all. I am because we are, I am. And we're going to make that thing happen and be what it be and do what it do, family. So with that, we appreciate you joining us tonight. Who was the who was the feline family member we got there?
This is Cinnamime. She's the queen. She adopted me when I came here. So it's so funny because my solo journey definitely wasn't solo because that cat, she came, had 13 kittens that I had to go through that process.
Wow.
So yes, I'm never alone. Ache. Thank you all. It always feels so good to be here in this community and part of this family. I love you guys. I love you, Orisha Bemi. Thank you so much for what you have done in my life. Ache. I will always return that back.
Ashe. Oh, and I appreciate it, man. And definitely we got nothing but love and appreciation and gratitude for you for coming through and doing what you do, as well as, dropping the jewels. And let's not forget I got my Orgone family. I keep mine close. If he ain't around my neck, I got him real close because like the Wu-Tang Clan, you got to protect your neck. So I got my SU out here doing what he do, and we doing what we be and being what we are, and what we came here to do. So with that, family, we'll see y'all on the next episode. We are out. Peace.
Adios.
Àṣẹ o.
Ẹni tó gbàgbé ilé sàpò ìyàpọ̀ tẹ́ǹtì ẹni takísà ní tàtàn ò bá padà sílé anítìjàkọ ẹja lọ pé eégún mo sì ẹni gbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́. Forsake not your ancestors and praise your